This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Miles an hour, that's a Category 4 hurricane. 3 deaths are reported in Florida after more than 24 were killed in the Caribbean. This
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
Take a journey to our Caribbean paradise at Toyota of Hollywood. Get in the groove with great deals on over 2,000 Toyotas, like a Corolla, not 24,000, just 17,975. You'll be cruising and chilling with super low 2.99% financing. Feel the rhythms of the Caribbean today at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slomin's, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house!
Get out of the house! Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
Welt and Ra has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welt and Ra, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welt and Ra can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welt and Ra can help. Call 954-966-4646.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 16 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive the new 2024 MDX, $469 a month during our 16th anniversary sale.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. This is a screwed up Saturday, right? Because I thought I was going to start the show or start my day like, okay, going to go see some practice, go to the stadium, run into the fans. By the way, first of all, before I continue, do we have the audio? I want to make sure because I am solo right now, okay? Sean's here in spirit, but he's not here at the moment. So it's kind of a solo. I got to do everything. So just give me a thumbs up before I start. We're good? Okay. So today was kind of screwed up, right? Because they had to cancel the practice. I thought we were going to go to the stadium, go to practice, run into some fans, which is always cool, all that good stuff, have some fun, and then get back home and do this, right? And do a real quick thing. And then all of a sudden, they cancel practice, okay? And first of all, let me defend the Dolphins on this part. They did the right thing. I know that the weather didn't end up being bad. Like I saw somebody commenting like, hey, man, I live close by and it's not bad. And it wasn't bad. We were outside the entire practice. They didn't even go indoors for the practice at all. They stretched like they normally do indoors. And then they went outside and did the entire practice outside. We didn't feel one drop of rain. But systems are unpredictable. And it is getting worse now, obviously. And so they don't know when it's going to get worse. And you don't know when those things jog east or west or north or south or whatever the hell it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the Hurricane Andrew, it was supposed to go between the Dade-Broward line, and it ended up going in the Homestead. And there's jogging. The recent Barrow, it was supposed to go right on the south side of Barbados, and it ended up going jogging south more, and it ended up affecting more the St. Valentine Islands. I forgot how it's pronounced now, but all that stuff and Bermuda and all that. So it was one of those where Grenada. I'm sorry, Grenada and St. Vincent, right? Something like that. The Grenadine Islands, right? So that went a little bit more south, and this always happens with this kind of stuff. So the Dolphins have to worry about that. And what if the storm all of a sudden gets there and they have to protect their players? They don't want their players, whether it's Teron Armstead or anybody else that you're trying to protect. Tyreek Hill didn't practice today, Mr. Contract. And we'll get to that. I'm sure you'll enjoy some of that. And so I want to defend them because you don't know what's coming, and I know that in this sport, we have like a lot of Neanderthalism in it. I don't know if that's a word, but there's a lot of knuckleheads in football, like out of the fans. I mean, look at what they do. They dive on lit tables. Fans are fanatical. They do. So some fans are like all pissed off and they'll drive in anything and they don't care and all that kind of stuff. In today's world, you can't it's not good PR, and you don't want to put your players at risk. So if it starts raining, you made a whole bunch of people come out, and now you got to go inside. So now they went through the pain in the ass of getting there, and so they don't know if they're going to be put through that, which is even worse for you guys to get in your cars. I read somewhere some guy said, I'm glad I didn't travel in. I didn't fly in. I'm like, holy shit. You're going to fly in for a practice? It's not even a real scrimmage or anything. It's just a practice. And no, it's just like the Dolphins didn't need the grief, because it would have been terrible to have. It was 30,000 people that were going to come out. There were 30,000 tickets. Can you imagine 10 minutes into it, here comes the rain, boom, and a lightning shot, and now you got to call it, and now 30,000 people wasted their entire Saturday. So they sent it out early, and they protected themselves from any grief, but they'd rather have this grief where you're sitting at home, or you're at the mall, or out somewhere with your friends or family members, and you're a little pissed that you couldn't see practice, but you're comfortable, you're fine, you're doing whatever you wanted else to do on a Saturday and safe. They'd rather you be pissed that way at them, which they didn't tell me this. I'm just assuming, hey, let's do it. Let's keep things safe for our players, safe for the fans. Let's avoid the embarrassment of having to cancel it last minute or right when it starts or whatever. So let's just cancel it now. That way everybody knows from the get-go that don't come out. We're gonna have a regular practice, and that's it. And I know it's easier for me to say because I'm media and I get to go see the practice, and I'll get to tell you everything that went on today. And we got some great video of Tua. There's some great stuff. This is why this is all screwed up. I thought I was going to come in and do like a quick 20-minute show, 30-minute show, wrap up, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to be here for a while. There's a lot of shit to talk about, bro. A lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying, man? There's a lot of stuff. So we got to get a lot of things off our chest. So if you're a Dolphins fan, this is going to be fantastic for you, because we got a lot of stuff, a lot of juicy stuff, a lot of inside stuff that we're going to get into. Anyway, so I have to ask the wife to bring me another bottle of water, because that one's not going to last this show. Okay. All right. And remember, of course, you can always make a donation, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And you can make a Bitcoin or Ethereum donation, which right now we've got a beautiful, absolutely beautiful dip going on right now. 60,225. Woo! That is awesome. Awesome scoresomes. So there you go. And don't forget, of course, folks, you can visit our merchandise shop, which is another way to support us. You could use the QR code that is there. And the link is also on YouTube. The link is also on our Instagram page. And we've got shirts, hats, all kinds of ways that you can support us there on the program and keep us afloat as always. Let's see. Jason G says he's down here in Key West for the 10th anniversary weekend. Saw about Tyreek. Yes. We will get to all of that. What else do we have in general to talk about that we talked about? Okay, I kind of got everything else out of the way. The scene is set. It was like a ghost town. By the way, it was lonely without you fans out there today. It was just like, me and whatever 14 other media members or something like that. It was boring without you all out there. I gotta say, it's better when you all are out there. You give it an atmosphere. It's fun, So it was kind of lame. The good thing is there was no sun, because it was very cloudy, and there was a nice breeze, man, that was coming through. So it was actually a great day for practice for the fan, because it was probably the coolest day so far. And that would make you a little bit even more jealous that you could go out to practice on the coolest day, that it wasn't so, blistering heat. All right, let's attack first and foremost the Tyreek Hill contract, because I've got a whole bunch of other stuff. We'll get to the practice stuff. We'll get to the stuff that Tua talked about, because I want to get into a lot of stuff that Tua talked about and some really juicy stuff that I think you're going to really like, as a fan. But first and foremost, let's talk about Tyreek, because that's kind of the elephant in the room. I've been telling you guys, I thought he was gone for sure after this season, after they didn't do anything and they restructured everything. Now, this is not like an extension, but they did even more than what I thought. I thought maybe they would guarantee some money. I told you, remember, best case scenario, they guarantee some money within this year, so he has a little bit more to make where it's not all, some of it is salary where it's now more guaranteed and it's already in his pocket. I thought they would do that. What they ended up doing was there was 2 years left on the deal. They gave him $65 million guaranteed. Okay. Now, I've disagreed with this front office when they kept X and they didn't trade him, and it didn't work out for them. I disagreed with the Heat and not trading Jimmy Butler, and it didn't work out for them. We're going to see what happens here. Okay? Because this is not a bad deal for this year. For this year, it's not a bad deal. But what about next year? And this technically could be a 2-year deal. And in the third year, he could get cut and you take like a big cap hit because $65 million, he can be a $30 million receiver for 2 years, basically. And you don't have to pay him the third year, although not the whole salary, in other words. So technically it could be an extra year. If he takes care of himself, it works out. My problem with all of this is this happens so much in sports. You get trapped. The man's 30 years old. He just turned 30 on March 1st. So you're going to play into your 32nd year. Normally, you're not nearly as fast as you were in the past. And you don't even know if he's going to be able to hold up this year. Okay? But I would take the chance on this year. Taking the chance in other years, okay? That's the decision they want to make. With all the off the field issues, I wouldn't have done this personally. Okay? I don't disagree with a lot of things that they do in the front office. Okay? The X thing was one of them, and this is another. I would have guaranteed for this year. I can see that. Any extension with all the off the field issues, I would not have taken the chance. Okay? It's just, there's always too many problems. The guy has 400 kids with 400 women. Is that going to stop? Do those women bring any trouble to him? Does it create any other issues? Does he have any other peer issues with another old man or something? I don't know. I can't forecast anything with Tyreek, but I can go over his recent history. And it's not good. It's not good. It's undisciplined completely off the field in just a short time, in just 2 years. He's done a lot of stuff that's very questionable. So I don't know what holds. I don't know what holds. Now you guaranteed him the money. I don't know what holds a month from now with Tyreek. Unfortunately, super likable, great energy, amazing player on the field. Off the field, you have no idea what the hell you're getting. And on the field, he still has some discipline issues because he drops keeper. The other day, Tua had to talk to him about running a wrong. Bro, you're the number one receiver, and you're running a wrong route, and then he comes off the field. Well, I'm going up against these guys, and I'm so jacked. No, bro, you got to compartmentalize those situations. There's no excuses. You're the number one guy. Let's go. You're this third year in the offense. You got to know where you're supposed to be. So he has his own brain farts on and off the field that, I can't say where I normally agree with everything that they do. I'm just not going to sit here and tell you that I'm going to be pretty consistent. Aging players are a thing that, as you can tell, I kind of shy away from and tell you, you got to start, distancing yourself from aging players. Aging players who bring baggage, that's a bigger issue. Now, let me tell you what most people won't talk about in this situation, okay? This is what most people won't talk about. I believe the Dolphins didn't have the guts to go through the season where Tyreek knew that this season was his last season. Like if they would have just guaranteed it, I thought about this, right? Because since I've been talking about, you got to sometimes take a step back and look at what you were talking about. And then when I was saying, well, maybe they'll guarantee him extra money here in this year. And that way, you keep him happy. Problem is, if you do that, he knows it's over. He knows it's not. So then his mind, and what did I just talk about right now? He's a guy full of distractions. You're going to give him another distraction. There's a psychological thing to what's going on here. And I think the Dolphins didn't want to play the psychological game, and they were willing to play the financial game and say, well, if he goes awry and we got to cut him, we'll take the cap hits. But if he's happy, he's running like a cheetah all over the place. He's helping us win football games. And, well, we'll deal with him and 5 other women he has kids with in the next year. We'll deal with, I don't know, another kid of his turning on a fire. We'll deal with him smacking another old man in the pier. We'll deal with his entourage in a fight in a comic club. We'll deal with it. But what we can't do is we've got a Super Bowl caliber team, and we can't have the most explosive player also be the most explosive person. Vamos a hablar la verdad. Are we going to talk the truth? Are we going to lay the cards down? We're going to talk about what really is happening, because you're not going to get this in the Sun Sentinel, in the Herald, in the Palm Beach Post, ESPN, Fox, CNN, anywhere else. Nobody else tiene los cojones to talk about it like this. That's all it was, man. The Dolphins did not want to gamble with volatility. Those of us in Bitcoin, we know how to deal with volatility, baby. Stay strong. They're too close. They're too close to a championship. I get it. No, I know that's another discussion. I get it. I'm the guy that says, hey, they've had injuries the last 2 years. If they weren't injured, they probably win a game or 2 or 3 in the playoffs. But whatever, we'll disagree on that. That's fine. And we'll disagree whether Tua can play or not. And that's fine, whatever. But if the Dolphins are healthy and Tyreek is happy, then yes. But if the Dolphins don't have a happy Tyreek because, a week or 2 he doesn't get as many balls, and then he starts thinking, well, wait a minute. They're kind of, this is it. This is my last year. They just paid me off for this year. I got no more guarantees. And so that, no matter how colorful he is as a personality and the brightness and the smile and all the fun and games and all of that, there's volatility behind the scenes. And it has oozed out into the street and into reality in different ways, like breaking the leg of an IG model. So you'll deal with that volatility, but you can't deal with the volatility inside the locker room. See, he doesn't bring that in the locker room. His issues are outside. So then they'll deal with the outside PR, and they're too close. So they said, we're going to roll the dice, and we're going to say, okay, we got to take the bad with the good, and think about what you know. Like every player that has had issues in the history of the NFL and Major League Baseball and the NBA, any of these players that are issue type players, this is what you know. What about what you don't know? So, they're willing to take those chances. And that's what's going on here with this one. They're willing to take the chances. You want the truth on Dolphins football? you can get the truth on Dolphins football right here. No, it was a fork in the road, and they felt like they had to make a decision. What kind of storm do we want to deal with? Do we want to deal with a tropical storm, or do we want to deal with a hurricane? You know what? We'll deal with the tropical storms. We're good. Our building is strong enough to fend away the tropical storms. But those hurricanes, oh no, doggy. Can't do those hurricanes. Category 3, 4 comes along with some tornadoes, No. We don't need that. We don't need it. We'll deal with the tropical storms. We'll deal with the depressions. That's right. We'll deal with the tropical wave. Right? Breaking an IG model, tropical IG model's knee. Breaking it. That's a tropical storm. Smacking an old man in a pier. It's a tropical depression. House on fire, gale force winds. Entourage fight at a comic club. Passing shower. We'll deal with those. We're protected. We're good. We've got it. We've got the flood stuff going. We've got the roof. We've got the shutters. We're set. We can't have hurricanes. That was the decision. And in the end, when they're sitting there making their business and they're talking and they're going, we need them, but we don't need that other stuff, So how do we get him at least the best, and then we'll try to manage the rest? And that's what happened. So you got your deal, and now we'll see what happens during the ride. That's all. We just got now we just get in, we buckle up, and we hope for the best, ladies and gentlemen. You know how it goes. If it works out and if he really plays 2 good years, that third year, it's like, if you get a half decent year, the contract works out. If you only get the 1 year, then that's where this whole thing becomes, kind of a mess. And so you either will get praised or you'll get criticized. Welcome to the world of sports and welcome to the world of the NFL, but interesting decisions, interesting deep decisions on Tyreek Hill and his new 3-year money-induced 3-year restructured contract. All right. What else do we have? Let's go through a little training camp report. Out. Ahmed still out in the boot and all that. Ezukama, Craycraft, Tyreek Hill, Teron Armstead, Jordan Poyer, Jordan Brooks, Anthony Walker, Cam Smith. So a lot of the normal names that have been on there over the last couple days, and nothing new on Cam Smith. Also, he talked, what's it called? Coach talked about Ezukama, and it has nothing to do with the neck injury, so that's good. And it's another one, but he didn't give us really a timetable, but he didn't want to make it, in a way, he didn't make it sound like it's going to be a long time, but he also made it sound like, not exactly sure how, short it'll be, either, that kind of stuff. It's kind of twisted, but either way, and this will come into play in one of our discussions today, on the show. I got to tell you, I really did not think that I was going to walk out of there with the amount of stuff that I have to talk about today. It's going to be like doing a regular like Dolphin post-game show with like all kinds of storylines that come in and out of it. All right. Man. Let me make sure. Thank you, Mace, On the super chat, Big O ain't lying. Ty in the Bronx. There you go. Thank you. I appreciate you, Ty. Thank you on the super chat. Remember, you can always make a donation, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo, and you can make a Bitcoin or Ethereum donation, which you guys know we love that. Okay, so we covered the practice, covered the players out. Here's another, like, sometimes crap happens in life, and at the moment you're frustrated. At the moment you don't like it, and it could be something personal for you. It could be something in your work life, or it could be as a fan. And what I'm talking about is sometimes when you have an injury or somebody retires on you. And whether it was Ricky Williams years ago, who left right before training camp, or recently Shaquille Barrett. And Shaquille Barrett was a guy that you were counting on to actually go out and do something. You know what I'm saying? Do something for you and help you out. And he retires on you right before camp, and you are pissed. I'm pissed. We're frustrated. Damn, dude, come on, bro. Chubb and Phillips aren't going to be back for, they're not going to be themselves. I know people talk them up and all that kind of stuff, and you see Phillips work out, and it's so unfair to speed up the clock on those men. Give them time. They're not going to be themselves for a while, but you need people to step up, right? Okay. And you're expecting, obviously, Calais Campbell to help you out because he's a veteran, and Shaq to help you out because they're veterans. You're hoping that Chop and Kamara, go out there, and actually get something done for you. And maybe, that'll happen. Right. And Quentin now is obviously in the mix, but you were really counting on those veterans. And there's a saying that people tell you, and they tell you to cheer you up. They tell you to feel better. And sometimes it can make you feel better. And a lot of times it'll just freaking piss you off. But then in hindsight, which is always 2020, later on, that saying comes back in your mind and you're grateful. And that saying is, everything happens for a reason. And at the moment that you lost your job, lost your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, some kind of setback in life, and your buddy, your loved ones, hey, you got to hang in there, man. Everything happens for a reason. When one door closes, another one opens, right? That's the other cliche, right? When that stuff happens. Let me tell you something, man. I think about halfway through the season, you're going to turn to your buddy and you're going to say, holy shit, dude. Thank God Shaq Barrett retired, because Emmanuel Ogbah is playing his ass off. And Emmanuel Ogbah is playing his ass off. Emmanuel Ogbah is going to have a season, bro. I mean, we were worried about Chubb and Phillips. Well, we're going to still be worried about Chubb and Phillips. But at least you got a guy that is playing really good football, sharp football right from the get-go. And I'm not just talking about sacks. I'm talking about hurries. I'm talking about getting in the backfield and disrupting things. I'm talking about deflecting passes. Emmanuel Ogbah is one of the best players in camp so far in the first couple of weeks. Emmanuel Ogbah is probably an upgrade over Shaquille Barrett. And I'm just going to say it now because I think you're going to say it a month into the season, 2 months into the season, by the end of the season. You're going to remember that moment. You're going to go, oh, shit, dude, bro. Emmanuel Ogbah has 8, 10, 12 sacks for us. That guy has 4 pass deflections and two recovered fumbles. And, dude, we only got him because Shaq freaking retired. somebody else might have signed them within that next week or two because they needed somebody, and we would have never had him. I think we're going to be saying that this year about Emmanuel Ogbah. I am really serious about this. You know, he's had it's effed up, right? Because he had those 2 excellent years for the Dolphins, got his contract, then he got injured, right? Then he suffers a setback, then he comes back from the injury, but he comes back to the injury to a system that he doesn't really fit, and they don't really give him necessarily the opportunity or the reps to prove himself, which then buys him another year to really fully get healthy. And now I'm watching and I'm going, well, I'm putting all of this together because hindsight is 2020 after you get to assess something after a certain amount of time. And I'm going, holy shit, this guy was out of football. Most teams were committed. He didn't have an opportunity. The Dolphins all of a sudden offer one. He's hungry for it. He has local business here. He says, you know, he even mentions it that he wanted to sign here because he also has other interests here. So now you're giving a junkyard dog a reason to want to keep this job because he has other interests, and at the same time he wants to go out and play football because he hasn't been able to play a lot of football the last couple of years after coming here and playing a lot of football. I think we got ourselves a nice little bonus in Emmanuel Ogbah. Oh, and by the way, he's fresh from not necessarily playing a lot the last couple of years. So that's another thing that Emmanuel Ogbah brings to the table to the Dolphins, where Shaquille Barrett is a well-used, odometer that has already gone around once. So I just wanted to point that out because I'm sitting there, I'm watching this, and I'm going, holy shit, man. This is going to become a blessing in disguise for the Miami Dolphins. And we're going to go back to remembering what Emmanuel Ogbah, the joy and the defense and the effort that he brought his first couple of years when you brought him off the scrap heap, and he made his name here more than anywhere else. I just really, 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 really like what I'm seeing out of it. By the way, don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button, please. Smash, smash, smash. It's very important you smash the like button. 165. There was like 200 people at one point, but we only got 76 likes. Let's go, man. Get that shit well over 200, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Emmanuel Ogbah, man. It's going to be a good one. Jalen Ramsey had the orange jersey, so he got the playlist today. Decent playlist. I didn't know a lot of the songs. You know, there was a lot of hip-hop songs that I just did not know. But, hey, I will say this. He doesn't really listen to as much mumble rap. Oh, can you imagine mumble rock? Oh, God. That's terrible. I mean, mumble rap is disgusting. Mumble rap, mumble metal or rock. Oh, that would be something that would make me go to the hospital. Probably, I would get ulcers or something like that. Mumble rap is, that's bad. But if you start mumbling my metal, yeah, I can't do that. I can't even listen to screaming metal. But anyway, decent playlist because they actually, there was one song I liked a lot. I liked the groove to it. I just had no idea, and I didn't Shazam it in time, so I screwed up there. So I would have found out about it. They waived Ireland Brown, the third center, and they signed Sam Harlow, replacing him. So they got a new offensive lineman today. What else happened overall? Kamara, by the way. Kamara and Chop, both, man, playing really well. And I can't wait to watch Chop have to hit and tackle because he's in position to hold the point. We already talk about penetration, okay? Kid's got a first step that is just, it's wicked. It's wicked mean, man. It's wicked. So he's got that first step, but on top of the first step, he fundamentally is in position to help out against the run and those kind of things. So, but he hasn't been, again, there's no tackling and all that kind of stuff going on right now, which is what we need to see. You know what I'm saying? So once we start seeing that, it kind of completes a picture, but man, it's there. And Kamara, sack, he pressures, he helps out against the run. I don't know. It's still way too early. Okay. I just want to know, are you all sitting down right now? If you're driving, you can't be driving when I talk about this. You need to pull over right now. What's that gentleman that's a trucker always listening to me? I will not be responsible for you in an accident, sir. Pull over. Pull over right now. Let's go. I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds here to pull over, okay? Remember, as always, you can visit Caneswear, 2655 South University Drive. You can also go online to caneswear.com. And a lot of the hats you see that I wear and stuff like that, I buy at Caneswear. And they got messy shirts, messy jerseys, all kinds of Inter Miami, gear, anything and everything pretty much with a logo on it, sneakers and shirts and jerseys and all that. Dolphins gear. They've got Panthers gear, Panthers World Championship stuff, all that kind of stuff. Plus, you can use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off. And if you don't live close by and you got to order online, when you order over $99, you will get free shipping. So you can use our code BIG010 to get 10% off, and you'll get free shipping if you go over $99. Okay? So, if nobody's driving. You cannot be driving right now. You've got to be sitting down. You can't be working, okay? Because some of you, hey, Big O, I'm listening. I'm running. I don't want you running. If you're working any kind of equipment at this point in time, especially like dangerous equipment, you're working like a saw or some shit, put it aside. Turn it off right now. Okay, I'm not kidding. You're working a skyscraper, get your ass back inside, okay, when I talk about this, okay? Nobody can be, you're cooking. You're cutting with, like onion. Get the knife out of your hand. Okay? Are we good now? You're edging. No edging. Could edge off your goddamn toe when I tell you this. Nothing. Put everything down. Channing Tindall is having the best camp of his career. Yes, Channing Tindall is playing well, is doing things, had another sack today. Yeah, I said another sack. Was in the backfield stopping Jalen Wright. I'm just telling you, don't kill the messenger. I told you, did I not tell you? Did I not tell you not to handle anything with an edge right now or any kind of heavy equipment? I told you to relax right now. Channing Tindall is having the best training camp of his career. How do you like them apples? Yeah. They might, I don't know. Maybe it turns into something. Maybe it doesn't turn into a last roster spot here. Maybe it does, but it might turn into a roster spot somewhere else in the league. And let me tell you something. He's going to get a lot of playing time in the preseason, which is fair. I don't need to see Jordan Brooks, right? But it's not like you're going to need to see Jordan Brooks. You don't need to see David Long Jr. Yeah, no, David, have a seat, brother. Relax. I don't want to watch you. Teron Armstead, bro, there's Keon Smith there. I don't even need to see much of Kendall Lamb. You know, give him a little work to keep him sharp, because obviously if he's the backup, he's not going to get a ton of starts. So you got to get him some reps. I need to see a lot of Keon, a lot of Patrick Paul. You know, you want to work those kind of guys. I don't need to see Teron Armstead. I don't need to see David Long, and I don't need to see, Jordan Brooks. I need to see Channing Tindall. Got to find out now, can he also play on special teams? Can he help you out there? Because if you're going to be, one of the back-end linebackers, one of the back-end running backs, one of the last receivers, you got to help out on special teams. You know what I'm saying? You guys know that. I don't need to tell you that. If you're going to be the last tight end or the last any of those kind of positions, you need to be contributing on teams too. So that's something to watch, obviously, with Tindall. But he is having the best training camp of his very young career. Congratulations to that young man. Congratulations to Coach Weaver, because obviously he has given him an environment where he can actually make some plays. He is showing up now. He never did anything. So God bless the young man. He's trying. He's working his ass off. You know what I'm saying? Give him a break, man. Give the kid a break. Sometimes you end up in a situation that maybe doesn't favor you. Like I see Kader Kohu now, and I see him back to before, BF, before Fangio. They used to say BC, 900 BC. Well, I'm going to go BF. Okay? Before Fangio. You know that Kohu? I'm kind of seeing that Kohu now. So I'm going, okay, so is it possible that I'm also seeing maybe a Tindall that a coach understands who he is and then is able to reach him and get the best out of him? But Channing Tindall is having the best training camp of his young career. A guy we have all given up on. Okay? Just saying. We have to be fair with people. When you're right, you're right. When you're wrong, you're wrong. And when you've improved, let's give them credit. Let's see. What do we got? Before I continue, I'm going to go now. I got a lot of stuff to say with some good shit today that we're going to talk about with Tua. Jamie Zorrilla, I see, is in Torreon, Mexico. Chris Johnson, Jay Gelfin, NorCal. Let's see. One-Eyed Jack, Mace Taggart, Sneak Attack, Brian Landis, Gus 1388, Richard Hernandez, Dolph Met 70. Big O, yes, I know I'm wrong, Quan. Here you go. You got it. I already talked about it that I'm wrong. Are you happy? Let's see. Gus 1388, Stephen Harris, Eric Simon, Sweet Baby Ray, Adrian Garcia, Jeff in Long Island, Miami Fins, Alexis, Dennis Akers, thank you all out there, man. James Vivinetti, Stephen Harris, Alexander Rene Diaz, thank you. Horn Dog is in. Cosa Nostra, Ray Grullon, NorCal is in. Thank you, NorCal. Jason G. Let's see. Down here, Key West for the 10th anniversary weekend. Saw about Tyreek getting extended. To me, it sounds like no, it's no. It'll be more than 1 year. They guarantee he'll be here at least 2. Guaranteed 2. Big O on my TV while I enjoy ice cold Michelob Ultra in my pool. Life is good. Damn right. That is freaking good. Alf is in the house. Tyreek Hill, the best player in the NFL, but he might not be the best player on this team. LOL. Jalen Ramsey. I don't have a problem with that. I don't know. But you know what, Alf? If you don't have a few of those, you can't be a contender. You know what I'm saying? There's a team right down the street, right off of Biscayne Boulevard, that we keep looking at, and they got a lot of really good players, and they got some really nice little players there, but they don't have enough stars. And that's the beauty of this Dolphins team, that if they stay healthy And at the end of the year, you tell me, if Alf, you tell me a star like Teron Armstead is healthy, a star like Tua Tagovailoa is healthy, a star like Tyreek is healthy, a star like Waddle is healthy, a star like Ramsey is healthy, and I don't give a shit what anybody tells me. Javon Holland's a fucking star, okay? I don't care. I know this predicament that his team has been in the last 2 years and all the injuries and the situations and everything. This coach will put him in the position that he's a star, okay? I know he's a star. But my point is, if you can get to the end of the season and your stars are healthy and you got a lot of them on this team, then I think you've got a shot at going deep into the playoffs and winning even a Super Bowl. But it is imperative that these stars are healthy. You got to have these guys at the end so they can make the plays. I would put a Chubb there because Chubb was playing like a star last year. You know what I'm saying? But with the knee injury, I don't want to put that pressure and expectation on him. But I would put Chubb in. Chubb was playing like a star last year. 6 forced fumbles along with the sacks. That's some shit, dude. That's some playmaking. Okay? That was big. Those forced fumbles came in big too. And so Chubb was being a stud last year. You got some players on this team that are special. And the key is to get to the end of the season and have as many of these special players healthy for you. And if they're healthy, they are the difference makers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. I'm with you. And if somebody wants to say Jalen Ramsey's the best, I'm not going to argue, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to argue because Jalen Ramsey brings, because you see it also, because you're there, Alf. You see it. He brings a leadership to the thing that's something that Tyreek doesn't bring. Tyreek's leadership is more about his athletic effort. Whereas Jalen Ramsey, yeah, sure, the effort's there. That's like, hey, I'm a father. I paid the bills and I fed my kid. What do you want, bro? You want to clap or something? You want a medal? That's your job, dude. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to work hard. You're supposed to provide. That's why you're a father. That's your job. You don't get any bonus points for that shit. You know what I'm saying? So he does that, but then Jalen Ramsey takes it to the next level. He adds the leadership stuff to it, where you see Tua, all of a sudden talking about Jalen Ramsey on how much he loves the guy and all that, because there is another level where you're connecting with people, and that's Jalen Ramsey. Jalen is the whole package. When you get a superstar, when you get Tyreek, you get an athletic superstar added to your team. When you get Jalen Ramsey, you get the entire package. Yeah, of course, you get the superstar. Of course, that's what the Lord gave him. But what he added on his own, that wasn't a gift. It was him. It takes him. It's the leadership, the intelligence, the accountability, holding others accountable. And then being who you are, you can hold anyone else accountable. You know what I mean? And you can reach people in other ways that others can't, because you're that kind of guy. And that's not Tyreek. So in that sense, there's really no argument with your point, Alf. He really is the better player, because it's just not the athlete that we're talking about, the football player. Yeah, they're both terrific football players, but with Jalen Ramsey, you get something else. Oh, by the way, your coach sleeps so good at night. So good at night. Every night with Jalen Ramsey. Every single night he can put his head on the pillow and there'll never be a 4-alarm fire. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I really didn't mean that. Anyway, what else do we have going on in the world of sports? Ray Martinez, you are a monster. Thank you, sir, for the love. Sending us some Bitcoin on a beautiful Saturday. on a dipping Saturday. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And of course, you can make a Bitcoin donation. That's like making a donation forever. You know, that's like saying, "Oh, I love you forever, and here's a donation forever," because it'll grow perpetually. I mean, that's how that is. You know, love is perpetual, right? Now, so is Bitcoin. Perpetual love in all kinds of ways. You got to love that. Thank you, Ray. You are an angel, my brother. Thank you, sir. Crema de Clutch Exotics. Dude 67, true Fin fan. No plans to get rid of Tyreek. No. This is one where you hope he can hang in there for the 3 years. And worst case scenario, true Fin fan, you hope he hangs in there for 2. Because $65 million, okay, so you paid him $32.5 million per year. Okay, so you paid him a little bit more, whatever, but he's a hell of a player. And then you could take a cap hit on the 3rd year and move on, and he's off the roster. And the cap went up 3 more times during that time. I think you can kind of live with that. You can kind of get by. What you cannot get by, it cannot be a one and done. The Tyreek deal cannot be a this year, and then he has a whole bunch of issues off the field, or he gets old all of a sudden, or whatever. U.S. Embassy calls on citizens. What? What did I see there? Okay, I thought I saw something breaking. That might have been news. U.S. Embassy calls on citizens to leave Lebanon on any ticket available. In other words, get your ass out of Lebanon. And who had won when the soldiers have gone to the Lebanon? Most of you are like, you have no idea what I just did. No idea. Let's see, Big O. I don't quite get this new KO formation. Looks more confusing. I'm not going to get into that, but during the week, maybe we'll talk. I talked a little bit about that formation stuff and the penalties and all that on yesterday's show. Let's see. What else do we have? $60 million guaranteed, 30 per season. They will pay him in bonus money to save on the cap. Yeah, listen, if it lasts 2 years, it works out. You just don't hope that he gets old quickly. That's all. And that can happen at any time. If you've watched sports long enough, you don't know the year the player gets old. The player slows down. The player is not the same person. You just don't know. So you have to be careful with that. Big O, don't make me crash. My insurance is your fault. Let's see. Rosenda's about to go to church. Bless you, sir. Big O, in your head, what makes you think that the Finns should move on from Tyreek, first ballot Hall of Famer? I already talked about that, bro. That's an old story if you weren't keeping up with it. Would you really like to see Tindall blossom and make an impact? Yes. I would love to. Brian, I would love to see every player. Dude, I would love to see Ryan Tannehill be a good quarterback. I don't want to just because I had great info and just because I didn't believe in him and I pointed out all his faults and all that kind of shit. If he's a Dolphin, I'm hoping I'm wrong. Okay. And I didn't predict Tindall or anything like, oh, hey, they should draft Tindall, or I love Tindall coming out of college or anything like that. Whatever. I saw the pick, where he came from. Okay. Looks like a solid pick. Like most of us said. And then like most of us, it hasn't worked out. The kid has not done anything to, he hasn't done one little thing to justify his drafting. Not even drafting in the 7th round, much less 3rd. So watching him do this, it's awesome, man. It is awesome. Awesome. So if Tindall can look, the only time maybe I can root against a player if the player's like, I don't know, Lawrence Phillips, like a really bad person. Okay, those are easy people to root against. But just because I don't think Cleo Lemon can play doesn't mean I'm sitting there in the stands or watching on television and hoping he throws interceptions for the Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? So I would love anybody that's wearing a Dolphins uniform, even if I don't think they can play, I'm rooting for them. You know? I mean, I have no choice, dude. I mean, is there any doubt? I mean, seriously, is there any doubt what I am here as a South Floridian and a sports fan? I mean, it's the history of South Florida that's back there. It's all I root for. I don't give a shit about any other type of local teams. I'm a South Florida guy at heart. So more than anything else, I want to see it succeed. That's a good one. That's from our game. What the F were you thinking? But anyway, so yeah, I would love to see Tindall succeed, man. And those are great stories when you're able to see people overcome all that kind of adversity. Those are really cool stories. Let's see. Would Big O, I think Ogbah is coming with a vengeance. Well, I talked about that. If you haven't heard, you should rewind. Greer brung some great talent that we haven't seen in years. Hopefully these guys can stay healthy. Agree, DJ Ozone. Very much. Let's see. Human League track, Groovy. There you go. That's actually my favorite song, The Lebanon. That's my favorite Human League song. Now it figures it would be you, Ray, with that. You're a music dude. Let's see what else. What's with the bullying thought? Martyrs are compassionate and humble. Is that another conversation? Okay. Anyway, what are we talking about here? I'm staying on sports today, okay? Don't get me off topic here with any of the other stuff. All right. Gonna stay on the sports topics. By the way, we're at right 65,000. That's some sweet stuff. I mean 60,000. We're at 60,163, dude. That is absolutely freaking awesome. Waiting, maybe about right. This is a gift right now. I know I'm going to stay on sports. All right, let's start off with some of this stuff that I want to talk about big time. Before I do, give me 15 seconds.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 16 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive the new 2024 MDX, $469 a month during our 16th anniversary sale.
All right. So Tua today addressed the Meteors after practice. And first of all, for those of you, Tua ended up, what's it called? Tyreek ended up being named the number 1 player in the NFL, right? So Tua ended up discussing. Wait a minute, I have the wrong one. No. So I guess great. So this thing is in the kind of order. When you're doing it on your own, it's kind of a different ball game. Anyway, let me get the billboard out there for you guys, and you guys can see Tua. And here he is talking about Tyreek getting the vote as the number one player overall.
That's my dog. That's my dog. Oh my gosh. I mean, he was excited. We all were in a group chat. We all texted him. Jalen Ramsey, Teron Armstead, Raheem Mostert, Jalen Waddle. Like we were just all congratulating him. There was some funny things that we threw in there just to, give him a hard time. But for the most part, sorry. I'll pay for it. But for the most part, that was unbelievable. To have a teammate like that, voted just best in the league. That doesn't get better than that.
Tua, you get any congrats?
And that
I'm sorry, my bad. All right. When he first started the press conference, he noticed that the table was uneven and that the recorders were kind of sliding off. So they slid off a couple of times during the press conference. And then that question is like halfway through the press conference. And obviously, one of them falls. And then since he got the new deal, he threw the joke in, I'll pay for it. It was funny because earlier he was talking when he walked in, he goes, "Oh man, this is going to be a problem. This table is uneven. Can you put like a little piece of cardboard or something under?" He was joking. And sure enough, he called it. They started sliding off. And he's the only one that pointed it out. Two other football players came onto the podium before him, and they didn't point that out. He was the one that pointed out, like right there, goes, "Hey, this is uneven. This is not good." And sure enough, and so it's like, "Oh, you got to fix it." Hey, we know somebody that can fix it. And he goes, "Yeah. Tyreek, where's Tyreek?" And everybody started laughing, obviously. And maybe he also knew that Tyreek was getting a new deal. I don't know. But that's kind of the funny part of that whole thing. But anyway, obviously it was some pretty cool for him to be ranked and all that. I've already personally, for me, I've told you guys I'm way past all these individual stuffs. I want playoff wins. I want a Super Bowl. All this stuff is nice, but I kind of glance over that stuff. To me, it's just not that important. One of the quotes that I loved when we were talking with Tua today, and it seems like there's a different tone for the team. And let me explain here. I'll show you. What we got here? Okay, so this is Tua talking a little bit about how the team is going to kind of handle things this year. Okay,
this isn't Mike's team. This is our team. Like at the end of the day, that's what it is. Our coaches, they're out there to give us the tools that we need to help us go out there and be successful. And sort of our mantra of how we go out there and do things is, if I go out there and I throw a pick, it's not Darabella that threw the pick. It's not Mike McDaniel's play call that threw the pick. That's my name on that. That's our offense's name on that. And so that's sort of how our outlook is on how we go out there, our style of play, our mentality, our mindset as we go out there. And like I said, we're trying to make it as hard as possible for each other to go out there, and we're honing in on the little details to be able to go out and compete against each other and we're trying to beat them. We're trying to whoop their butt.
I love it. Again, I love it. And let me give you another one that goes with this, and talking a little bit about like kind of, this is the second part of it that will kind of go with this point here. Here we go. One more. Two are here on this.
It's a drive every single day. I think there's been an aha moment that we've all had collectively with the leadership, with our captains, just for what our outlook is for our team. We try to not get bored with any of the things that we know we're going to need, and we try to make it as difficult as possible for each other. Like when we go out there, we talk our talk, we try to get in each other's heads, we just try to do that to simulate the best possible scenario of what it feels like to be in game, to be under pressure, and to be able to come through for your team. So, we're looking forward to the challenge of these other teams coming by, but next week we're going against each other one more day before we see these guys.
Okay, now one more, which will complete the trifecta of things that will explain what kind of team you're dealing with.
I would like to say for sure, we love to have fun. Who doesn't like to have fun? But we like to have fun doing it the way that, sort of like on our terms of like how we want to do that. Like we want to be able to make sure that if we're having fun, we're doing all the things necessary to make sure we're going to win this game, to make sure that I know what I'm doing, that this guy next to me knows what he's doing, and, all around. Like we better make sure we all know what we're doing, because if somebody slips up, like you best know on this team this year, like you're getting called out. You're getting called out.
Boy, you Tua haters are going to love that, right? Anyway, I like that. They are there to challenge each other. They are there to correct each other. You know what I'm saying? And yesterday when Tyreek ran the wrong route, Tua called him out. And then Tyreek, to his credit, called himself out after. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that was actually 2 days ago, not yesterday. It was 2 days ago. And these are things to me that is really, really important. And that is that veteran leadership that you have on this team all over the place. And guys that are established, guys that can, Teron Armstead can challenge anybody on the offensive line. Jalen Ramsey can challenge anybody, out in the secondary. Jordan Brooks and David Long are experienced linebackers, overall. Calais Campbell, there's a lot of experience there on the D line with Calais Campbell. And even Sealer is now, an experienced cat, at this point, that he can add a lot of leadership to it. Chubb is a guy that brings a lot of leadership, overall. So when you have players like this, then they can also hold the Cater Kohus accountable, or the Austin Jacksons accountable, or any of the young players that are in the process of growing and developing and those kind of things. Although Austin Jackson is kind of on the bridge of becoming one of those veterans, kind of like Teron Armstead. Not there yet, but he's getting there. And I love the idea that you're going to get called out. I think that's important in football. I really do. For everybody that thinks that Mike McDaniel is Mr. Nice Guy and Mr. I want to all be your friend. Well, look at that environment. That's not Mr. Nice Guy environment. The problem is that it's what you see on the periphery, and that's all we get to see. But behind the scenes, it can't be all fun and games. And the players can handle this like all fun and games. If they do, then you've got a guy dancing behind you when you're losing, or you're in a tight game with a bad team and you're the University of Miami. Remember that a couple years ago? And you're like, bro, what is that guy like? He's acting on the sidelines like a goofball. And I think they were either barely leading like Eastern Michigan or something. I forgot what it was. It was like some crappy school. And you have that kind of environment. That's not the environment that they're going to breed in that team. And that's good. This is part of kind of getting out of that shell of who you've been for many years. It's not a Mike McDaniel thing. It's not a Tua thing. This is a Miami Dolphin thing for 40 years, 40 plus years. This has not been a tough team. This has not been a team that's been accountable in key moments. In fact, it's mostly folded in key moments. So I like that attitude now that they have of it. You know? What else do we have going on here I want to talk about and address? Let's see. Okay. First of all, Odell Beckham has been out, right? I gave you good news on Odell Beckham, stuff that you're not going to get anywhere else. And it is there. We did it 2 days ago. You can find it. But here's Tua talking about getting to know Odell Beckham, the person.
You know, for me, you know, and this is what the league is. Everything's hearsay until you actually meet the person, you know. Like from what I heard, you know, was something totally different from, you know, getting to know. So, you know, A-list celebrity, like that's like from what's being talked about in the locker room and what, you know, I'm being told and whatnot. And so, you know, I sort of have this thing in my head where it's like, all right, like, you know, is he a dude or is he just one of those, you know, guys that's just, all right, I'm to myself. I just here because it's Miami, whoop you, whatever that is. Like, no, he's like a genuinely great dude. Like, I hang out with him a good amount off the field. Great, like as good as they come, in my opinion. So, you know, with that being said, I would just say, like, before you start, you know, saying things about people and whatever, like, just make sure you get to know them before all that.
It's interesting because remember when we talked about Odell and then they signed him. The one thing that I was told about Odell, which, you know, you got to pay attention to and then realize he really hasn't been in any kind of an issue, any kind of a problem in the last couple of years in his last couple of stops. So clearly he has matured. Obviously, he's an older player now. He's not the speedster he once was, but he can still play. And so the idea is, what kind of a person are you getting? Because that's what a lot of you were concerned. Are you getting the guy that had all those antics with the Giants? But that hasn't been the guy that you last saw with either the Ravens or the Rams. That dude just went and played football and did what he was supposed to do as a football player. So it looks like he's matured. And, you know, Tua Tagovailoa is a fan. Now, Odell, how do you develop chemistry with Odell is the question, right? Here's how, because he's not playing, he's not practicing. Here's Tua explaining it.
Well, I've been able to talk with O a lot off the field. You know, I think the main focus for me and I think for O is we communicate about, you know, okay, how you got to study the playbook, how I studied, how it helped me and whatnot. But the most important thing is, like, he has to take care of himself. Like, he has to do all the things necessary with Kyle, with Boone, with Troy, with all those guys to do everything he can to get back on the field to help us. And then from there, then we can start, you know, getting into, all right, the feel of how these plays are, you know, the feel of space within this offense, all of that.
So we'll see once he gets – no hurry. We're in early August. There's no hurry. But I'm sure you're going to see him soon. The good thing is you shouldn't be concerned. Just listen to the segment I put out. And any Dolphin fan, you'll be – don't worry. Trust me. There's nothing to worry about. In that area, there's nothing at all to worry about. Let me see. What else do we have? Oh, one more. Tua, also one more guy that he is waiting to team up with. Well, not waiting, but is teaming up with now and starting to get a little chemistry with is Jonnu Smith. And this is how he goes about developing chemistry with his new tight end, Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, just your everyday drills that you have with routes on air, then on the side, just being able to take into the side, catch for you. You know, a lot of the guys, they'll tell you, like, it doesn't matter how you throw the ball, whatever, but until they actually see it, they're like, dang, all right, this is kind of weird. Like, yeah, it's I'm the only lefty in the NFL that I know of that's starting. Like, so I would expect it to be different for these guys. So a lot of the newer guys, just trying to get more reps with them, having them see the ball, and then when they're able to catch it on the jugs, the ball is also able to spin in reverse instead of how it would normally spin.
Twisting some time.
Which is very cool, by the way, that the jugs machines are also spun for lefties, which I think most of you probably knew that already. But if you didn't, that's obviously a good thing too. But and Jonnu has looked good. He has looked good. I'm expecting a big season from Jonnu Smith. I think he's one of those fantasy tight ends that some of you are going to be reaching for. Maybe not as a starter, but definitely as a really good number 2. I could see him being a major factor like that in fantasy, where you could use him on a bye week or injury or something like that. But Jonnu Smith in this offense should be able to do pretty well, man. What else do we have going on? I think I've addressed most of it. Let me see. Yeah, all right. What else do we have here? Am I wrong for feeling like the team is pissed? Feels like the team is going to ball out this season. Maybe I'm just being hopeful. It should be. The team is bro, this is a good team, man. I just want them to stay healthy. What else do we have here? So right, Big O. That's why I dislike McDaniel so much. Maybe I'm completely wrong with my assessment. Nothing would make me happier than being wrong about the head coach. McDaniel is just young. He's green. He hasn't done everything. So these are mistakes that you're going to make. And he's got to kind of go through his growing pains too. And unfortunately, we got to live through his growing pains. But offensively, he does have a great mind. Is he a great head coach on game day? No, not even close. Not even close. He's got a long ways to go to being a great head coach on game day. That is one thing that, By the way, we are getting hit by a storm now. If anything happens, water damage, we could have winds over 40 miles an hour. Starting at 40 miles and above, roof damage happens. So if after the storm you start seeing any brown spots and stuff like that, reach out to my friends at Welt and Ra. They will send their adjusters, and then they'll call the insurance company, 954-966-4646. They will handle it all for you, so you don't have to deal with the insurance company. It's a beautiful thing, man. So bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury, reach out to Welt and Ra. Jeff Welt and Daniel Ra, all throughout, man, the storm season. If you have any water damage, never call the insurance company. Call them first. They'll send their adjusters, and then they call the insurance company. And, brother, they put them straightened out like in a quick. All right. It sounds like this team is following the 91 Bulls mantra by holding each other accountable and coming in ultra focused with one goal in mind. I hope so, man. Listen, in the end, I want to remind you guys, this is a team that has a very realistic opportunity to make it to the playoffs 3 years in a row. So for you young fans, in the last 25 years, when do you do that? Try never. If Tua goes and balls out again, he's going to be in the MVP conversation again. When do you do that? Try never. I don't know, since Shula and back in those days, you got to be pretty old. When did you think that you offensively had an advantage? See, you youngins, you're going to say, never. because you've never felt like you had immense. Well, with McDaniel, sure, he has talent, but he knows how to put him in positions where, to be successful. And then they know how to make the plays, the quarterback and the receivers and everybody else. There's a lot of great stuff going on. It's just people get clouded with all the shit that's gone on in the past. And then they also lose sight of the last 2 years with all the injuries and with McDaniel. You got to overcome that part. That part there cannot happen at the end of the year. We cannot have a lot of injuries. So you should feel great about this team, dude. Should feel phenomenal. Big O, not trying to be funny, but McDaniel has 2 favorite words. McDaniel is a smart guy, but he's not a polished speaker. And the problem with being an unpolished speaker and yet being a very intelligent person who is, I guess, methodical to a certain extent, you got to think so much about what you have to say. So the ums and the uhs and all that is to buy him time for him to structure the answer for that media person, so it is structured in a way where they can get some meat off the bone and write a story on it. And he tries to think and colorize everything that he's talking about. And in that process, because it doesn't flow to him naturally, he's not a talker, dude. He can't get up there and flow because that's not who he is. And because he's so smart, he has to, in a way, think about it, and it makes him slow. And then he sounds like a stoner. Then he sounds like a valley dude at times. I get it. I totally understand it. But it's because he's also just trying to phrase the answer in a beautiful fashion. He works so hard to give great answers in every answer. And sometimes maybe he works too hard at it. And then he's thinking too much. And because he's thinking too much, there's too many what? Ums and uhs. That's who he is. He is not Obama. He's not Clinton. Right? He's not let me see. I'm trying to think of a smooth talker that can just ad lib and stuff. Jim Barry's actually very good at that. It's a very good ad libber, not somebody we would normally think about that. But as a broadcaster, I know. God, I'm trying to think of who is like outside of the political arena that I can think. Reagan was also he was smooth. But he was an actor. So that made him, flow. God. You remember, look, De Niro. When De Niro tried to go out there and because he wasn't in a script, he looked like an old, stumbling, bumbling old man. You know what I mean? Because he's not a public speaker. He's an actor. He couldn't make the transition. There's a difference, bro. Huge difference. To be a public speaker, it's different, man. And not all coaches can do it. They can't do a good job of it, And McDaniel's just not one of those. He's just not a dude that can flow. It doesn't come natural to him. Let's see. The injuries have been brutal. The young fans sticking with this team is admirable, in my opinion. No, the young fans are the best fans I've ever seen in Dolphin history, because the fans of the last 30 years have shit to show, and they're there all the time. Those are the most impressive fans I've ever seen. Fans like me, we're hardcore. We've been around, but we saw the good shit. So we're kind of waiting for it to happen again, but at least we experienced it. I look at Dolph Freaky, and she doesn't know what great football is. Dudley Durong, he has no idea what great football is. You know what I mean? You're under 40. You don't know what you don't know great Dolphin football. You have no idea if you're under 40. Because that means you've been watching football just a little over 30 years, like really knowing football. So you don't know jack shit about great Dolphin football because it's never happened. They've never been great. You got to go 50 years. You got to go into 40, 50 something years, late 40s into 50s to say that's when they were last great. You know? So yeah, the young fans for me are the most impressive Dolphin fans by miles and miles and miles. It's not even close. Super, super impressed with young fans. Yeah. That's real fandom. That's real fandom. What else? Just imagine if the light goes on this season for McDaniel as a game day coach. That would be awesome, Brian. It's hard to listen to McDaniel's speeches. Yeah, I Chris, I understand that sometimes. JFK is another one. Yeah. He had a little whininess to it, but yeah, he was definitely a good talker. Public speaking is super hard. People seem to not understand. Oh God, yes. It is incredibly hard to just be able to flow and talk, and yes, very hard. And you can't sit there and and this happened the other day. No, you can't do that. Broadcasters can't do that. People on a podium can't do that. Yeah. I always used to tell young broadcasters when they would come into the business, and I would tell them, when you want to think, don't say you want to think. And they would look at me and they go, what? And I go, what do you do sometimes when you think? And you're looking around. Yeah, but think quietly instead. Have a pregnant pause if you have to have it, but have a quiet one. It's less invasive to the listener. The listener can deal with a light pause where it's no sound, but they can't deal with something that is constantly repeated over and over and over again. And then it stands out, and then they pick up on it. I was able to see the last year of great football. Marino in his last year were still great. Nah, the Jimmy Johnson, that's not great. Jimmy Johnson, that's not great, bro. Sorry, dude. No, that's not great. That was average, something like that. The Jimmy Johnson years, that was average, at best, average. Great is when you can dominate, bro. You know, great is when you're going to the Orange Bowl and you're like, yeah, we're winning today. It's over. Oh, Walter Payton's coming to town. Yeah, we're going to shut his ass down. Oh, yeah, Ron Jaworski, no problem. Monday night, he won't be able to hear a goddamn thing. Nah, dude. No. Those weren't great. That's not even close. Maybe for you, it's the best you know, but that's not great Dolphin football. Those playoff trips with Jimmy Johnson were some of the most embarrassing things I've ever had to experience in my life. His teams got so outplayed, it's not even funny. It might be hard to listen to McDaniel, but the national media loves the guy. Well, because they get the sound bites. That's why. They get the sound bites. They don't listen to every press conference from beginning to end like you and I do. We listen to every press conference from beginning, like today. Today I heard his press conference from beginning to end. And I do it every single time he talks, and so do you. But that's because we're a bunch of freaks. But the national media does not do that. They just get the sound bites that they clip out that are really good and really funny, and then that's what they send out, and that's what they know. Nothing wrong with that. It's fine. It's all good. It's who he is. But if you watch him every day, you know. NorCal says, poor Dolph Freak, he only knows mediocre Finns play. Shoot, I barely know. Yeah. No, how old are you, NorCal? You're probably in your mid-40s to late 40s, right? Am I making you too old? I want to say. So yeah, it's been a long time that we've seen our favorite Dolphin, our favorite team be great. It's a long time, dude. Long time. What else do we have here? We chose to go to the Super Bowl not because it's easy, but because it's hard. I was born in 80 and can absolutely remember watching games from 85 and on. I can remember 85 Monday night game with the Bears, watching with my dad like it was yesterday. The power of the air horn, Big O. Yes, sir. Great when you say we lost. That was when I saw with Marino Shula, mostly in the regular season, at least. Playoffs were always a disappointment. Yeah, because we weren't great in those days. We didn't have a defense. The Marino years, we never had a great defense. You can't be great. We had great offenses, great passing offenses. We weren't great running. Dude, we weren't great since the 70s. That's when you're great, when you can dominate both sides of the football. That's the definition of great. When you're a real Super Bowl contender, not even in the early 90s, there were pretty damn good teams. They weren't the Bills. Oh, the Bills teams were great teams that fell short, that should have won at least one or two Super Bowls. At least. Okay, Big O, you took it back to the 80s. I should have said early 90s with Shula when we went to the AFC Championship game. Yeah, no, but no defenses in those days, bro. The defenses weren't great, and the running games weren't. Let's see. It's been 50 years since the Finns could win any games they played. Yeah, that's Ragin is the one bringing the truth. 50 years, it's going to take you to go 50 years to find great Dolphin football. I hope Big O buys the Marlins because 21 years of pain is ridiculous. Yeah, well, I don't, brother, I don't have I barely have the money to buy a Marlins jersey. And if I had the money to buy a Marlins, like real jersey, I'd rather buy Bitcoin with that money. Oh, man. By the way, where is the great Bitcoin right now? It is at 60,000, 252. There you go, folks. Take advantage. It's a beautiful thing. All right. We are out of here. We appreciate all of you out there. Again, you can check out the rest of the show. Everything else, me eating crow, talking about Tyreek. I went through all the Tua comments. Went through the Tindall stuff that I think is very interesting. What else that we talked about? Oh, yeah. The Shaq Barrett stuff that also turns into a blessing. Folks, we will see you on Monday. All right. In the afternoon, I believe, because I'm pretty sure we have practice again on Monday, right? Am I correct here? On Monday morning, we should have practice. Let me make sure, and I'll do it right here on the radio or on the show with you guys live, because that's always great radio to be able to do it just live. Let's see. Here we go. Oh. There we go. Now I've got my schedule out. Let's see, folks. I want to make sure I get it right here. They are off on Sunday, and Monday they have a 10:40 practice. So, yes, we will be back on Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, because we're at Hialeah Park. And then Friday, we got our normal show, and that'll be at Acura Pembroke Pines. It's a beautiful thing. All right, folks. We shall see you all Monday afternoon. Have a fantastic Saturday, Sunday. Be blessed. Be safe. Please be safe out there with this damn storm. Hope it doesn't affect you. And remember, call our friends at Welt and Ra if you do suffer any kind of damage. We are out of here. We'll see you Monday. Be good.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.